Okay, morning review. And Mike asked to go through GameCube. So it's here, you go away. Don't need to see you guys. So we're looking for a flag on some site. Let's close all this because we don't need it right now. So we'll go ahead and open that site and we'll take a look at the hints. One, the name of the problem is GameCube. So, and we have this hint here about console games. And that modern web browsers have a way for you to interact with them. And then finally, a more explicit hit of try running some of the functions of the JavaScript files, which is maybe a little bit of a misdirection, this hint, but if you're looking, you'll be able to see what's there. So here we have the site. Oh, did my VM just die on me? Give that a second. Cool. Come back up here, please. All right. So when you have your browser open, you're generally going to want these developer tools open as well, so you can really take a look at what's going on here. And if we're looking through these hints, we have a hint about GameCube, we have a hint about console, right? And even if we look right here, it says console right there. So pretty direct hint to, let's take a look at the console here. And something gets printed out to us, right? Somewhere from book.js, there was some JavaScript code that came to this browser, and your browser interpreted it and ran it, and it was some print statements. In JavaScript, they're called console logs. So they logged this to the console. Nothing to see here, or is there a way to see that pesky flag? So there's a few different ways you can go about looking. You may want to look at what, so this environment right here, I can run JavaScript code in here, right? I can console.log, right? Hello, it's like the same thing as print in Python, but we're just in a different coding environment. So in this environment, there are variables, there are functions, there are like all those normal things that you would have when you're writing code, right? Because the browser needs to do things. It needs to move things around, it needs things to change color, right? Needs to send other requests. So there's this whole environment, and they use JavaScript to manage that in there. So we might want to look at what variables are available to us. We might want to look at what functions are available to us here, because we can run them, right? This code is on our machine now, right? When you make the request, the response has this code that we get to get, and we get to use it. So let's take a look at where this is coming from book.js. We can go ahead and view the page source here, and we can see the raw HTML that gets sent to us, right? So here's all that metadata for this, and here we have that custom JavaScript that points you to this book.js file. All right, this is just shell.fullstackacademy.com/book.js. If you want to, we can go visit it directly like this just to see. Just to show you, right? It's just this whole thing. And, right, but it kind of looks nicer if it's actually interpreted like that, right? When you have that view source, your browser just makes it a little bit nicer. And so this is where we threw you a little bit of a, I don't want to say goose chase, but, right, the idea here is you cannot manually look through all of this. It's not possible. And this is going to be the case for pretty much, for many things. Many of the problems that you're going to have in the cybersecurity industry are going to be like, whoa, there's a lot of data. We got to like filter down and decide how is it that we're going to search through this and look for things. So things you may have wanted to look for are, oops, don't want to make this a bookmark, go away. Right, maybe FS curly brace, but that probably didn't give you any luck. Perhaps you looked for the word flag, but you know, this book was chosen, it's got a lot of flagellation going on here, but eventually you'll find something that maybe will pique your interest. Here's some JavaScript code. You can scroll all the way and see it. It's pretty difficult to look at, right, to kind of interpret this with your own eyes, but you can kind of see that nothing to see here. Let's see if we can make this a little bit larger. Oh, we can. We can, but it's harder to see. But you can see that nothing to see here. And you can see there's some JavaScript code, right? You don't have to be super familiar with how to write JavaScript code, but we should know like what is kind of happening here, right? It says var this. In JavaScript, you have a keyword to say that you're declaring a variable. You can't just declare it like in Python. And you see that message that we got, nothing to see here. And so this should be something that's piquing your interest and something that you're interested in. And so like I said, there's a way you can see the variables, right? Like if you want to see what is assigned to each of these variables, you can print them from the console. So let's see if we can find where that flag was. See, that flag is doing a whole bunch of things so that you can't tell what's going on, specifically to obfuscate what's happening, right? You see this one part here. We're doing some tricky stuff so that you're not supposed to see this kind of with your eyes natively, right? You're supposed to kind of piece this together to see what's going on. Anyway, we make a whole bunch of pieces of the flag and put them together as this flag variable, okay? You can go through and try and do the reverse engineering. But if I want to see the variable, I'm right here at the console, right? So I can just print flag. And there it is. So there's a few things to kind of unpack with this problem. One is understanding this console and this little environment right here is a place where you are running JavaScript, and it's the JavaScript, the code that was given to you when you made your request from the website. And you can take a look at the variables in there. You could take a look at the functions in there. You could take a look at the raw code that gets sent to you. Oftentimes, it's going to be a little challenging to read. Cool. Any questions about that? Anyone find this flag a different way? Print is not the word. It should be console.log. Surprised the print worked. No? Yes?
I think if you just type in flag too.
Yep, if you just type in flag too,
yeah.
It'll do that to you. Console logging it will actually log it out here. And it returns something. So it's slightly different, but yeah, you're absolutely right. You could totally access and look at the variable by just typing it out. Cool. Any other of these?
Can we do Yellow Brick Road, Matt?
Yeah, we can do Yellow Brick Road. This was a fun one. This one probably had people stuck for a while, I bet. Okay, so Yellow Brick Road, right? We're some kind of following things, perhaps. Follow Yellow Brick Road. Don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Did you click a link to example.com? Okay, well, let's come back to that hint. What response code do you get when you click the link? And is there a tool you could use to see what happened? Yes, there's answers to all of these. So let's first, like good cybersecurity people, look at where the link's going to take us before we click it. And I can't make this larger, but if you mouse over and look over at the bottom left, you'll see it's a link to shell.fullstackacademy.com and some high port number, 29,516 for me. Okay, here, click it. And now we're on example.com. Right? I didn't click that link to example.com. Something happened here. Something in between that I did not see. My browser did something because I clicked this link, and this link says for sure shell.fullstackacademy.com, 2916. So the way to kind of follow and see what's going on is I'm going to open up a new tab just so I can start fresh. Open up here. I want to keep track of what's going on in terms of the requests that are being sent. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the network tab. Okay, and I'm completely fresh here, fresh browser. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click here and copy the link location, right? Get that actual shell.fullstackacademy.com. I'm going to paste it in here. Okay, I'm going to click that. We're going to hit enter. It didn't show me exactly the way I wanted this to do. Let me reload this. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. So there's that request that I just made to shell.fullstackacademy.com. Let me refresh it and show you again. Again, open this up. Reload the page so that we have that network activity. Paste that there. And there you can see the get request. And you can see there's other get requests that get made too. Right? This is the order of what was happening. First was the get request to shell.fullstackacademy.com. Make this a little larger. You can see shell.fullstack. That was a 302. Okay. Then there was a request made to www.example.com. That was a 200. And then there was another request made for example.com/favicon.ico. Favicons are those little, if you look at you see how Firefox has this little Firefox icon? Those little favicons, those are what those are called. You'll notice example.com doesn't have one. 404, it didn't load. There wasn't a resource there. But what's interesting is this first one, right? That's the one we're most interested in to understanding what happened here. Because again, I clicked this link, but we end up on example.com. So you go here, and if you want to see some more information, you could pull this part up, right? And we have the different ways we can look at this request, right? So here were the headers of the request URL, right? It's to that. If you hit edit and resend, you can actually take a look and again change what was sent. Right? This was the request we sent. Okay, I don't want to change anything. I want to look at the response. So if we look to the response, why isn't it there? How's it here? Request headers. Oh, is it because I hit send, edit and send? Send it again.
It was there.
Oh, it was there. I just didn't see it. I'm blind. That's fine. So look at the, let's see, it says there's no response data. Oh, here's the response headers. That's what I want you to see.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. So there's the response headers. You can see there's a flag. And the other thing that I wanted to show you is that the response header was 302. So we should probably look up what does a 302 mean? It should be like HTTP 302 code, right? And don't even have to go further than Googling, right? Found redirect status code response code indicates the resource requested has been temporarily moved or moved to the URL given by the location header. So this is a pretty common way that people can move files around without having to like change what the actual link that people are kind of clicking on is. They're just like moving the resource. Pretty common. So what did we learn about this? We learned about using the browser to take a look at requests. We learned about a new kind of response code. And we've looked at response headers, right? That's where we find the flag. If you look in the response headers, there was a header on the response called flag, and you can tell me, right, what that encoding is.
Base 64.
Yeah, right. Recognize it now. Cool, cool.
Hey Matt, I have a question.
Yes.
So for one of the, I forgot which one it is, you had to find the hidden directory called secrets.
Mm.
So I was able to find it through a website called Fuzzer, but I couldn't find it through curl. I tried like many different things to find hidden directories.
So I don't know what this tool Fuzzer, I mean, I know what Fuzzer in general is, but let's see, Fuzzer, is it just called Fuzzer? What was the tool you used? But your question does lead me to something we will be doing in about 2 weeks. When we start doing some active reconnaissance on web servers. So let's go look at that problem. Let's talk about it, and then we'll get to your tool while you're looking that up.
It's called, I think, URL Fuzzer.
You think or you know?
It takes you to pentesttools.com, and then.
Is this just a web app I can use? Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, so this is what I use, but I couldn't figure it out on curl or Git or anything.
All right, so let's unpack a few things here. Let's look at the problem, and then we'll come to this tool, and that'll lead us to a future tool. So I think, what was the name of the problem? Do you recall? Someone know which one I'm talking about
It
here?
was the human error one.
Human error, yeah.
Human error. Yeah, human error. Cool. Let me close these. I'll keep this fuzzer tab open. So we're looking for a flag on this site. Just gonna open up in a new tab. Credits going to humans, people not humans, blah, 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 blah. So you guys probably got stuck for a while trying to find the file called humans.txt. And that may have helped you, right? Kind of gave you a more cryptic hint for what you should be looking for, a breadcrumb, if you will. But then eventually, if you were able to, you might have looked for /secret. Right? And so there was this file, this directory that is readable to you. Anyone can go and send a GET request for that resource and get served up that resource. And this might be a mistake. Maybe not everyone should have access to some resource, but the point is you never really would have known the /secret was there. Like if I just gave this to you at this point in your cyber careers, if I just gave you a website like this, you do not yet have the tools to kind of enumerate all of the different files that might be on this web server. You could try, you could manually do it. You could be like, well, I already know robots.txt. Let's check there first. But you can imagine there's a lot of different things. And there's probably, because we're people and people follow patterns, there's probably a lot of patterns for different types of files and locations of those files on different web servers. So that brings us to, who was it that's showing us this URL fuzzer? MD? All right, awesome. So MD found this tool, a URL fuzzer. We're going to be using a couple of tools similar to this, command line versions, and I think one GUI, and I'll show you a GUI version too. But what this is doing, at least let's try and see what it does. Let's test it out. I imagine you just copy this and paste it in. And you clicked this, and we'll do a light scan. Let's see if this works. I've never tried this tool, so I'm curious.
Yeah, it takes just a little bit of time, so I had to
Yep.
wait patiently.
Yep. It absolutely should take a little bit of time because while it's working, we could talk about what's happening right here. And this will bring us to this type of tool, right? So what we're doing now is we're trying to find out all the files that are available on this web server that we can look at. The word for that in cyber is enumerating. We're trying to number everything that's available to us here. And we can try brute forcing it with like random stuff, putting in stuff and looking at what comes back, send a request, take a look at the response. But the smarter way to do that is having like a dictionary of very common things, like there'll be /robots and /secret and /admin and very common files that would be on a lot of different web servers. Use a whole list of them. Then use some tool that will send a request from put the name that you're trying to look right in there, get the response, look at the response based on the status code. Can you go there, or is it not anything, right? Is it 404 or is it 200, or is it a redirect, or is it like you're not authorized? And based on those response codes, you have more information like, oh, looks like there's a login panel if I go to /admin, but I might not have known that before. So that's how this tool works. We're going to, let's see, look, you found /flags and /secret, but that's how this tool is working. There's like a dictionary, essentially a file of a bunch of common directory names. And then all you do is send a whole bunch of HTTP requests to whatever you're going to. Look at the response, 200 response, cool. That might be something interesting. If it's a 404, probably not anything there, right? Don't have to look at it. So this tool, I'm assuming, does that, except it has a nice little GUI interface. We'll learn how to use some tools that are already on Kali that do the same thing with a little bit more customization, and they're free. So, that's another benefit. Other thing I'll tell you, do not do this on any website you don't have permission to. I probably should have started with that, but yeah, don't. This is where we're starting to cross territory, and you're not allowed to do that on public stuff.
Are there actual repercussions?
Probably not, but the likely repercussion is you will be like kind of like banned from that site for a while. They might do like an IP ban on you for a little bit because you're clearly not a human at that point, right? If you want to do something fun, we could, yeah, let's do something fun. Actually, I don't want to show you that yet. I don't want to show you that yet. But in the future, we'll open up Wireshark. We'll run one of these tools that'll do the scan, that'll enumerate a web server for us, and we'll look at all the requests that are being sent. And you'll see, if you compare that to like what a human would normally do browsing a site, it's very easy to tell that it's a machine. And on the blue team side, they have people looking out for that because they don't want you taking down their server, right? You're not acting like a person. The only reason someone would be acting like that is, they're trying to enumerate my web server, and I don't want that. So in terms of repercussions, probably not anything going to happen, but don't do it, right? You don't have permission. You have permission on CyberLab, right? We're telling you to send requests. And this is fine. You got that permission. But for public stuff, you just don't have their permission. So I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, just don't.
Matt, can you please review Rain, Snow, Shine 2?
Yes, I can review Rain, Snow, Shine 2. I can review it in 2 different ways. And it's going to lead into how we're going to use Python to solve it today, too. So there's 2 different ways to do it. The easier way that I have found to do it is using curl, but you can do it through your browser. I did a whole bunch of troubleshooting with one group yesterday, and then finally kind of figured out how to consistently get it to work this morning. So let's take a look. RSS2, RSS or RSS2? Sorry, whoever was muted.
She wanted RSS too.
Okay, good. Okay, fine. Yeah. So let's go here. We want to send a post request with JSON data in the body, and it has to have these keys: handle, movie, command, and send it to this site. So let's go to this site. Let's take a look at the hint. They are tested in order, so it'll handle if missing. I forget if that's still true. We got to add the content type. So let's do it through the browser first. I'm just going to go right here, have this network tab open. I'm just going to hit reload so I see everything again. And the GET request that I'm interested in changing is this first one, right? Because it's already to shell.fullstackacademy.com to the port. So I'm just going to edit this one and send it. So if I hit the edit and resend button, I want to change the method. This is a post method now. And I want to, at the bottom, add a header to tell it what type of data is in the body. And if I didn't know that, I'd probably Google something like how to send JSON data, something like that. Through browser, maybe. Or send JSON data header, HTTP header, might look at. And you'll find something about telling you that you need to include the content type, which even it tells you here. So if I look at content type and JSON, I think that might be the good Google query. Here we have one that I found at least. Someone asking a question about what's the right way to send it or what the right tag is, right? He's saying it's application JSON. You can look around and play around. So let's add that header. And its content type. It's actually, oops, content dash type. You could see HTTP headers list. Let's get a list of them. Oops, oh no, closed you. Content type, right? So it's this tells you the syntax, right? What type of content you want to send. And we're sending JSON content in the body, right? The server has to know what type of body, like what type of data the body is in, so it knows how to interpret it. And this is where that information, that metadata gets sent. So application JSON. And then here's probably where people got stuck for a while. You have to format this JSON the appropriate way. And so you may have to get stuck using JSON syntax. May have looked around here. W3 School is a good place, good resource for a lot of web stuff. And it looks like here, it looks like a Python dictionary, but we have double quotes around things. If you tried this with single quotes, it would not work because single quotes is not appropriate, is not valid JSON. Okay. Yeah, it sucks. There's a lot of different types, and they don't all play nicely. But you know, that's part of the job. Okay, so let's do what it wanted. It wanted handle movie command. So we do type this in here, handle, comma, movie, oops. Command. Okay, that looks okay. Maybe I messed something up, but that's okay. This is how you do it. So we hit send, and you notice that it makes this new thing, this new request. And now one thing that I noticed, that this is where I think I don't want to say if it was a bug in how Firefox does it or where I got stuck when I was trying to help with a student. If you look at the response, you'll look down here and it doesn't actually, oh, it does have the flag that time. Oh, maybe it's because I did it right, I guess. But if you double click this too, it makes that same request, and that way you can have it kind of clean and see the same thing. Right? There's that post request I made. You can see the flag down there at the bottom. So I guess that maybe the pain points students were having, if this one gave you a hard time, but you knew yes, I need to post data and I'm trying to do it this way. The JSON syntax, having the double quotes around it, and what are the other things that people got stuck on, I think. You're just kind of manipulating, playing around with it in your browser to be the right request and setting the right header to be application JSON.
If I remember correctly, we did this with curl-x.
That's the other way I would do it. This is the way it's a little
Okay.
bit easier. Right, so we want curl-x, and that's to say what type it is, I believe, right? So this can be a post. And then we want to send some data. Let's look it up. Curl to send post data JSON, something like that. How do I post JSON data with curl? See, someone already has this question. Scroll down to the answer. Add the header, -- data, and it looks like you just give it in that form. I can do that. I can follow. So we could do dash.
You can just do -h and then the JSON content.
-h and then just the JSON. All right. If you're
Actually,
telling.
no, you need -d as well. Sorry.
So -d, just -d.
No, -h and then the content type application JSON and then -d for the data that you're going to input.
The -h feels weird to me because -h should be taking a string that says what the header is, doesn't it? I'm going to try it without the h first. And if that doesn't work, I'll just try it with the -- the way you said. Okay, so -- data, because I think the way curl works is that it by default, it sends the data as JSON. It's doing that for you under the hood. But let's take a look. I could be wrong. Let's do double quotes in here now. We have to use double quotes. Oops, not the one I wanted to go to. Oops, now you're frozen. Give you a second. Oop, we're dancing. Is my key stuck? Oh, I think my key might have been stuck, maybe. That's funny. In the, alumni channel. There was someone who had a bug that was stuck for a couple days, and it was just the key that was stuck. Okay, there we go. Handle movie command. Handle. Right. Oops. Comma. Movie. Matrix. Comma. Command. RM. Does this look good? Did I do something wrong here? I don't know. We'll find out. Post it to here, copy. I like when I copy from the browser, it adds that extra HTTP colon for me, which is nice, handy. Invalid JSON or content type. All right, so let's add the header. So you said just -H. Someone told me -H. Let's try that first. Nope, doesn't like that. So let me actually add.
-H and -D both worked for me. I didn't need the full data and header words.
Oh. So just like this, -H, -D, you're saying?
Yeah.
All right, let's find out. I wasn't happy with that.
Another thing you try is after -H, you can do in quotations content type application/JSON.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
you do that.
See, that's what I thought. That's why I didn't think this was going to work, guys. Yeah, because this what this -H is saying is in the headers, put this string. If we just put a -H and you don't put anything, it's like, that's why I was surprised. So content type application JSON. Content dash type application/JSON. That looks better.
There's also a typo after command. There's no
Colon. Good catch. This should be colon, not semi. Looks better. -D, not dash, or dash data, not dash, not just -D. Probably could just do -D. And there we go. Solve with curl. Cool. Let me stop morning review there.